Hello, this is Professor BRB, and today we're going to learn how to make a simple circle logo in Adobe Illustrator. So let's get started. Start with a new blank document and show your rulers and show your grid. That's a non-printing grid. And please turn on Snap to Grid. We'll zoom in a little here. Find your ellipse tool. It's under the rectangle tool. Choose a grid intersection and hold down your Option key so that your ellipse tool will draw out from the center, and hold down your Shift key to constrain it to a perfect circle. Don't worry about the fill and the stroke because those are going to disappear very quickly. I'm going to take my selection tool, grab this, and make a copy holding down my Shift and my Option keys. This is called option dragging. Moving back, first thing I'm going to do is create my type. So under my type tool, I can find the type on a path tool. Let's just tear this off so that we can see all of our type tools. Here's the type on a path tool. Select that and go to your typography workspace, so you'll have all the tools that you need, and choose your paragraph panel and make sure your alignment is set to Align Center. That's quite important. Your type on a path tool, click on your first circle at the bottom center of the circle. Now, surprisingly, what that does is it sends my cursor right up to the top. It's kind of surprising, but that's how it works. And now we can go to our character panel here and choose our typeface. So I'm going to choose Myriad Pro. Bold. Bold works best, I think, for this kind of logo. And it depends, what size you want is going to really depend on how many words you have. So you could sort of estimate and set your point size here. But what I'm going to print here now or type is snowflake. And please put on your caps lock and type in all capitals. All capitals work much, much better for this kind of logo. You can adjust the size till you're happy with it. I think that looks okay. And you might want to use the tracking command here with a positive number to add a little bit extra space between the letters. So that looks pretty good. So now we have the type for our top circle. Let's go to the bottom circle. Now in this case, we want the type to go on the bottom. So what we have to do with our type on a path tool is click at the top. And you will see that the cursor goes right to the bottom. So I'm going to type my bottom type. Don't worry that it's upside down. We're going to fix that very soon. Take your selection tool and select your bottom type. Go to Type, Type on a Path, Type on a Path Options. And please turn on Preview. Go to Align to Path, Center. And then click Flip. Voila. Let's go to Outline View here. And you can see that we have two identical circles. The reason for the two circles is Illustrator will not allow you to have type on both the top and the bottom of the same circle. So Kind of the only way to do this is to make two circles. Now, when we put them on top of each other, we see we have a problem right away that the type isn't lining up the same way. So we can fix that very quickly by choosing the top type, going back to type on a path options, and just aligning it to the center. And now they're going to line up perfectly. There we go. That looks great. So we've really already got our type underway. Now we will create our inner circle and our rings. So go back to your Essentials workspace, choose your Layers panel, and create a new layer. And let's call it Inner Circle. Drag that layer to the bottom. And what I want you to do is just lock layer 1 so that we can't disturb it, and choose layer 2, Inner Circle. Back to your ellipse tool. Go to those central crosshairs. You can see how handy those are. Shift and Option key and draw a circle that is somewhat smaller than wherever your type baseline is. And this may be different according to what size type you used. You kind of have to use your judgment there. Before you create a logo, it's always a good idea to do some thinking in advance about the color. I'm just going to delete a bunch of the swatches that are already in Illustrator here. And I know I'm going to be working with cool snowflake colors. So going to my color libraries in the bottom of my swatches panel here, I'm going to choose cool and select several libraries of nice cool colors for me to work with. It is advisable in a logo to use a limited number of colors and not get too carried away. You know, I've filled this with a nice blue here for the moment. And now we will become introduced to the very wonderful, and I'm afraid very much underused, Appearance panel. Now you may recall from our example logo that we had 3 rings here, a dark ring, a white ring, and then a lighter ring. When we look at this in outline view, we see there's actually only one ring. And it's the Appearance panel that allows us to do this. If I move this over here, you can see that that is just one ring. How did I do that? Well, it's not very difficult. The Appearance panel is a very wonderful feature that I think is much underused, and it allows us, among other things, to add multiple strokes and fills to the same path. Right now, this path has a blue fill and no stroke. So I want to add some color to the stroke. So I can go down here and choose a stroke color, like say this blue-green. Doesn't show much right now because it's only one point, but of course I can make it quite a bit wider. And here I can access my entire stroke panel and choose to align my stroke to the outside. That looks great. And you can just work intuitively here because your type may be a different size than mine, and just keep raising it up until it is the size that you want it to be. Now we're going to add a second stroke to make that white ring. So we go to the Appearance panel and choose Add New Stroke. And what Illustrator does is it creates a duplicate stroke on top of the previous stroke. So I need to go and get this to align to the outside again. Now I want to take my bottom stroke change it to white, and make it a few points wider. I don't know if you can see that coming out there. It's blocking off the grid there. You can kind of see it if you look carefully. And now one more stroke. Add new stroke again. Now we can go to this stroke and make sure that that's aligned to the outside like we want. And with the bottom stroke now, going back to our stroke panel, we're going to assign a different color to it. Let's say this lighter blue, and kick up the size a little bit until we're happy with it. So let's back down here and see kind of what we have, because this is starting to shape up here. I'm going to unlock my layer 1 that had my type on it, and I'm observing now that the a black type doesn't look too good on top of that dark color. Now it can be a little difficult when you have type layered on top of each other to select what you want, and this is where the layers panel can be helpful. If you just twirl that open, I can turn off the snowflake type for a moment so that I can reach the type that I want and just make it that nice light color. Then we can turn that back on and look, and there we go. I'm not completely happy with this color here, but I can work with that a little bit as time goes on. Maybe I'll make it a very darker color like that. Oh yeah, that's better. Now all I need is an icon to put in the middle, and we'll be done here. You can draw your own icon if you don't have anything to work with. I mean, the very quickest thing would be just to make a star or something kind of simple like that. But one source of icons, if you have not discovered it on your own, is a very wonderful website called The Noun Project. It's called thenounproject.com, and you can find an infinite number, almost infinite number of icons on almost any subject, and you should carefully read the terms of use here. You're allowed to download them and use them free as long as you credit the creator, or you can pay a very nominal fee and get the rights to use them without credit. So I contribute to this website, and I really think it's quite great. And when you download an icon from them, you'll get something like this. Download the SVG file, which is a vector. As you see, it's a regular vector file, and it'll have crediting information down here in case you've chosen not to pay. So just you can select it and copy, and then go directly to your logo file. Just for the sake of neatness, I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to call it icon, just to help keep everything sorted. And now I can go ahead and paste that into my layer. It's pretty close to the size I need. Change the fill to white. Seems like a good color for a snowflake. And wow, that came in as almost the right size, didn't it? A quick way to make sure everything is aligned perfectly is just take your selection tool and select everything. And your align controls should light up here. Make sure align to selection is chosen. And then you can just do horizontal align center and vertical align center. And that will just snap everything into perfect alignment. So there we are. This looks like a great quick little logo, very nice. You could add something here and here if you want, like a dot or something else. And if we look at it, this way, you'll see it's a very simple file. Now, if I wanted to export this for professional use, I would create outlines from the type and I would expand all these circles. And I'm going to show you how to do this if you want to export it and use it professionally. Just with selection tool, I'm selecting everything. And then under type, choose create outlines. What that did was it made the type into just a regular Adobe Illustrator drawing. So no matter whether whoever gets this has the same typefaces, it'll still look exactly right. And then to get all of this to expand, again, I just select it with the selection tool and go Object, Expand Appearance. And again, if we go to Outline View now, you can see that it's expanded the appearance, and it'll work in any format at all. So thank you for sticking with me. I hope you'll have fun creating circle logos. They have a long and illustrious history going back many, many years, and I hope you can find some use for this. So thank you for joining me.